Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so jazzed to have this next guy on the show.
Jazzed, bro. Jazzed.
Is that a word? I mean, can we still use
It's a word now, man. It's a word now. Jazzed. Okay.
I know I'm fucking old.
I'm gonna shut up. It's You're jazzed.
John Kelly, author, speaker, influencer, retired Leo of many years. John Kelly, what's up, buddy?
I'm telling you, the best part of my day, brother, is getting to talk to you. Sometimes, I'm just walking along. Yeah, I'm just walking along and I go, you know what would make this day better? A little dose of Pat Fitzgibbons in my life. And I call you up, you out there in fucking Arizona, and I'm like, brother, what is going on? And immediately I feel better.
Well, thanks, man. I mean, it's an honor to have you in my life, John. We've been friends for a while now, and
yeah, brother.
And I appreciate it, man. I do. You're a wonderful person. You're doing so much for law enforcement, even after you've given so many years to the profession. And if people don't know who you are, John, if somebody's listening and say, who is this guy?
Yeah.
A little bit about your backstory. I gave a little bit of a hint here in the intro, but who is John Kelly?
So, depending on when you ask that question, you'd get a bunch of different answers, right?
I
know, man. Because you know what? I am a work in progress, man. I have come to this realization that you never stop growing and improving. It just never stops.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't always a good father, husband, but I'm better, man. I'm better. Every day I'm being better at that. I wasn't always a good friend or a partner. Every day, man, I'm getting better. I did a little bit. I did 30 years down in South Florida on the job. And the job ends up, I don't give a shit who you are. You say the job doesn't define you.
Oh yeah.
It defines you. It just to a degree, right? The extent to which it varies from individual. But when you do 30 years, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or
it's going to affect
construction worker, yeah, this is something that you've dedicated the majority of your life to. And so I had my trials and tribulations, like we all do. I kind of kid, an alcoholic, addict, adulterer. That's just the A's, right? We start talking about the B's, C's, and D's, man, and it turns into, God, I don't even know what it turns into. But, just like a regular person, struggled. And I had some people along the way, give me a hand up, help me out of a hole. And I kind of realized at the end of it, Pat, that at the end of the day, man, after a 30-year career, we should be better at the end of 30 years than when we start.
Absolutely.
There should be, and we're not. There's a digression. We're not. We start at a 10, and by the time we get finished with this thing, we're like a 4, and we're broken, and we're so thirsty for love, affection, and connection, and all that we had before we got into this job. We had it. And this job slowly takes away from that, and you don't notice it. And then you wake up one morning fucking hating the person laying next to you, and your life really disintegrates. And then everybody's looking around the room going, how did I get here?
Yeah.
And so, it happens so gradually that it's almost goes unnoticeable until that wake up, and you just go, holy shit, this is no bueno.
Yeah. And I don't care. And I tell people or advise, I don't care who you are, what your background is, the biggest, baddest motherfucker out there. This job is going to affect you. Oh yeah, it doesn't bother me. I go see dead bodies and all the time, and my relationships are rock solid. Okay, that might be the case, but over time, if you're not nurturing those relationships and if you're not working on them, you said it, brother. I mean, you start. I love that. You start out at 10, you end up at a 4, some lower. Some
Right.
people are fucking
Right.
hovering at a 1,
Right.
maybe
And
a
then
0.
and the thing is, Pat, and we both know this, that preventable.
Exactly.
I mean, and the way we prevent it, man, is to one, acknowledge that there's the potential of these things happening, and then being really proactive and aggressive in developing the skill sets that keep us healthy physically, emotionally, spiritually, and we do that on an ongoing, never-ending basis. And that epiphany, man,
So what was that, John? I mean, because people are struggling right now.
right.
We talked about before we started, a lot of cops, not just cops, but first responders in general. So what did that epiphany look like in your mind? I mean, how did it play out? Because the aha moment, fuck, I got to do something different. I got to ask for help. I can't sustain this.
Yeah.
I mean, what did that look like for you if
There
you
were
want to share?
several stages, Pat, several stages. Like when I'm an alcoholic. I like to say I know, and AA, we're going to get into this whole,
Yeah.
oh, you're always, no, you know what? Fuck you. I'm not. That
Yeah.
person doesn't exist anymore. That person is dead, right? I haven't had a drink in 26 years. That person does not live anymore, right? So it was a part of my life, and I got some help. I went to AA. I had some people in my life that supported what I was trying to do, and I cleaned my act up. It was a decision.
Yeah.
It was a decision. I tried, right? I tried to have a little, and man, I just slid right off the
If I
rails,
have
man.
one beer,
I was on a cruise, Pat. I was on a cruise. I hadn't had a drink for 5 years. I was on a cruise. I'm like, I'm on a cruise. I can have an amaretto on the rocks after dinner, after we see the show on the cruise. I'm not driving anywhere, right? Right? Pat, as God is my judge, I have the amaretto on the rocks. The next morning, I'm in the gift shop buying a bottle for the room. I go to take the bottle, and they're like, we'll give you this at the end of the cruise when we dock. I'm like, I was confused. I mean, like, what do you mean I can't take it with me now? And I start getting fucking angry, Pat. Well, they don't sell you bottles of booze on the cruise. They want you to buy the booze from them. And in that moment, I'm in the gift shop with a bottle of amaretto. I looked at Nicole, and we both started crying. I said, I don't fucking have this. I thought I had it. I thought I had control over it. There is no one. It's complete absence.
Yeah.
And once I adopted that, once I was like, that's just the way it is, man. Like, that realization simplified my life, and as you grow and mature, my relationship with Nicole, holy smokes. I spend a lot of time, Pat, talking about relationships when I speak and when I present, because it's the sleeper.
Yeah.
It's the thing that you and I both struggle with, that, if not addressed, compounds exponentially whatever problem you're experiencing outside of the relationship. And so understanding the importance of maintaining a healthy relationship at home, that is really, for me, the foundation of everything else.
So
you can fuck up a lot of things. You cannot set a good perimeter. You cannot position your vehicle appropriately on the felony stop. You cannot have your finances in order. But if you don't have a solid relationship with love, respect, and that connection, you can't have anything else.
Yeah.
That is really the foundation. And then when we look, Pat, at law enforcement, first responder suicides, when we look at all the problems that manifest themselves from not having a good relationship at home, for every bad guy that kills one of us, 2 to 3 take their own lives, right? Of those suicides, Pat, half of them are the result of a breakup or a divorce. these are heavy duty emotions going on here that we don't put the time and energy and effort into on the front end, right? Like when we stop, like when I started courting Nicole, I was friggin' Don Juan, fucking sticky notes
I can see
everywhere.
that. I can
Oh,
see that.
listen, bro, please, sticky notes everywhere, shit showing up at work, just because, right? Always constantly reminding her how important she was in my life, right? And when I caught it, man, once I got it, dial it back
A little bit. I don't have to work as hard.
Don't have to work as
She's
hard.
not going anywhere.
Where would she go? It's me, right? She hit the lottery with me, right? Where the hell is she going to go? And then once you start doing that, once you dial it back, you allow indifference to start creeping in. And then so when you stop doing the things that make you successful, you can't be surprised when things get off the rails. You can't be surprised when the relationship suffers because you're not doing the things that you once did to be successful.
And a lot of people are surprised. They're like, what's going on?
Right. And I scratch my head. I go, what did you think was going to happen? And what ends up happening, Pat, is next thing you know, we're in a relationship and then we're not feeling appreciated because we're not communicating our needs and our wants. And when you don't feel appreciated, man, you'll find somebody that does appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And it's, that starts the rationalizing of unacceptable behavior. Oh, you don't want to fuck me? Fine. I'll find somebody that does. And I'm in the right. Well, and then instead of having tough conversations, instead of doing the work, we take the easy route. Yeah. And the easy route is the route that ultimately ends up causing us great pain and heartache. And these are all things that I have found out firsthand. Unfortunately, hurting a lot of people along the way. But knowing what I know now, it's incumbent upon me, Pat, to share this knowledge, to share these experiences so that others can learn. And listen, we've got one shot at this. And it's just, listen, I'm 56. I know you're like 36. You look so amazing. You're fucking.
I'm 54, dude. I'm right behind you. Thank you.
J. Crew model or something. I don't know. Fucking boy band or something. I don't know what you got going on.
Like you say, you got this one shot, man.
You got one shot, man. And this is what happens. I think we forget that.
Yeah.
I think we think that this thing's just going to go on forever and that, you know what, I'll take care of that tomorrow. I'll have that conversation tomorrow. I will start exercising after the holiday. You know what? Because Thanksgiving, I'm going to eat a lot. Yeah. I'll start December, Christmas, January. You know what? The day after New Year's Eve, that's when I'm going to start working out and I'm going to get my diet. And we keep I'm going to tell my wife I love her and actually do something about it.
All we have is time.
When this blows over, man. Yeah. And it's just, if we could appreciate how fragile one, life is, and two, you and I have lived more than half our lives, brother. And I don't know what we're waiting for to tell and experience and to be part of everything that we have coming to us.
I just think a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it, to some degree, not as much as I used to be, but I think that people are just waiting for something or someone to come in and save them.
Yeah, bro.
And save them from alcoholism, save them from a failing relationship, save them from their finances. And I hate to tell people, but nobody is coming to do that. It doesn't mean people don't love you and care about you. It doesn't mean they don't support you. But ultimately, it comes down to you, right? It comes down to the individual. So much 100%. Of life is intrinsic. Yeah, we need people in our life, but ultimately it comes down to the individual, and
at the end of the day, nobody's going to give a shit about you
No,
like the way you need to give a shit about you.
no,
I,
no.
I,
Because
it's
they're
the
dealing
most
with their
obvious,
own shit.
it's the most obvious statement in the world, Pat, but it eludes most of us. And right, you know what? If you know what, this relationship's not working out. I mean, I know guys going on 3 and 4 marriages, and I go, at what fucking point do you look in the mirror and say that you're the one
Absolutely.
that's fucked up? Because you know what?
Absolutely.
Listen, that's a hard question to ask, man. That's you. What do you mean? It's me? Yeah, it's you, motherfucker. You're
Yes,
the problem. Work on you.
exactly.
Stop. Work on you. And what does that take? What does that mean?
Takes courage.
Yeah, man. Because you know what? When you look in the mirror and you absolutely hate the person looking back at you, that demands change.
So how do you, so I know you talk to a shit ton
Yeah.
of people. You talk to a lot of cops, you do a lot of
Yeah.
coaching, seminars. How do you get somebody, I know we just said it starts from within, but how do you get them jazzed enough,
Dude, we're gonna, by the end of this
inspired
podcast,
enough?
we're coming up with a different word to use than jazzed.
How do
Yeah.
how do you get people to because you know how it is, brother. I mean, you go
Right.
to a conference, I know, oh yeah, rah, rah, and then they get out of the conference and they're right back into their
Right.
their routine. Oh, I got this card from somebody. Shit, I'll give them a call
Right.
later on sometime. And I know ultimately it comes down to the individual, but it's just one of those things where, okay, how do you get people to take action?
It's
Because
become harder, Pat. It's become harder as we progress, because I can tell you, it's the human connection. Remember when we were growing up, the whole thing was, the fuck did they call it? You know, when you get when you got pressured, peer pressure.
hazing,
Peer pressure, right?
peer pressure, yeah,
Peer pressure can work. Peer pressure isn't a negative thing if you're hanging around with the right people.
yeah, exactly.
Right? Peer pressure is not a bad thing if you're hanging around the right people, because peer pressure from Pat is encouragement, support, and keeping me straight. Peer pressure from Pat isn't, let's go out fucking boozing tonight, let's go whoring, let's go do this, let's do that, and you're not on the job anymore, so let's do a couple lines of blow. And that's not fucking peer support from Pat.
Yeah.
Peer support from Pat is, love your family, stay on the right path, exercise, how was your workout, how do we become a better version of you? So I think that saying about you're the average of the sum of the 5 people that you associate with, right? I think that's huge, man. And I think that we've minimized the importance of the people that we associate with. My circle is very small, Pat. Very small.
Mine too.
Right. And it's not that I don't have acquaintances.
No, that's by design for me.
Right. I've got a million acquaintances, but it's a very short list of people that'll stay in my house.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
I get to see the mansion.
You get to see the mansion. There may be a small fee associated with that, but yeah, brother. And so I think that when we surround ourselves with people that truly care about us, that see, this is the problem though. There's a lot of people like they're a sheep. What the hell is this saying? A wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
They want you in their life for as long as you're not doing better than them. They really,
absolutely.
They're sneaky bastards. They really are. And so you need people in your life that are jazzed up about your success, man, that are truly excited to hear that you're doing well. Because I can tell you this is going to sound a little effed up. The majority of the people that are at the associate level love when you fail.
Oh, absolutely.
Makes them feel better.
Absolutely. And I'll take it one step further, brother. Be careful. Be very careful to share good news with certain people.
Mm.
Going,
Yeah.
I mean, when you get good news, the first instinct, oh, fuck, I got to call it. And I'm not saying you shouldn't let some people know, your inner circle, but
Be
to your
selective.
point, be selective.
Be selective.
To your point, John. And I know it sounds negative, but this is the truth. To hit what you just said again, there are people out there that want to see you fail.
Yeah, man.
And that's the hard reality.
Yeah.
That is the hard reality. And the older I get, the more I realize, you know, as I move through my life, it doesn't mean that I have to have the same people I had in my life 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a year ago.
Sure.
Because you're going to accumulate, you're going to make new connections, new friends, new people that are going to lift you up as your journey progresses. Sure. And you shouldn't keep those people that were bringing you down,
right,
just lingering around.
Yeah,
I know that sounds cruel sometimes. You know, you just cut people out of your life. Yes. I mean, you could do it tactfully and gradually, but there's nothing wrong with disassociating yourself from people who no longer serve you. And I know that sounds, you know, selfish. I'm not, but are helping you.
No, fuck it. Fuck off.
Yeah,
it's selfish, because who else is going to be making that call for you?
Exactly.
You've got to make the hard call. And that's what we do. We avoid making tough decisions.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be nasty and mean with somebody. You can say, hey, this is the road I'm on, man. If you're down with it, and if you want to support this, hey, jump on board. If not, no worries.
I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was telling me, you know, that he was struggling and he was, you know, struggling with alcohol, and he might need some help. And he said, and I was asking him, I was like, you know, well, how things going with your family and stuff? He's like, oh, my wife's, you know, giving me a hard time about, you know, maybe getting some help. And I'm thinking, I mean, I didn't say this, but I'm thinking, who in the fuck would give their spouse a hard time with making the hard decision of calling somebody and saying, look, I need some help? I hate to say it, man. You don't need that person in your life.
You know who does that? Your drinking buddy. Like, she's his drinking buddy. She don't want to lose her drinking buddy.
Exactly. And I didn't say that, but I'm thinking exactly what you said. Fuck, you break up the team. You're going to come back and be
that's going to force her to look at her.
Exactly. And to your
people
point,
don't want to do that.
To your point, you know, your average of the 5 person, absolutely.
Right.
You are.
And those people.
Why, I mean, what do we do when we were what do we do as parents? You're a parent. What did you do when you were a kid and you saw your daughter or your son, you know, playing with a certain group of kids, and you're like, fuck, stay away from those kids? Why, Dad? Because they're bad news.
Right. They're going to bring you down.
It's the same.
They're not making good decisions. Right.
You start hanging with the criminals. Guess what? You're probably going to be a criminal.
No doubt. No doubt. And back to your point, you know, you asked about, you know, how did I look myself in the mirror? You know, I would be awesome if I could say that I came up with that on my own, man. But when there are people in your life, Pat, that matter to you, and they check you. See, that's the other responsibility that we have, is that if there are people that we love,
absolutely,
it's incumbent upon us not to let their behavior go unchecked. So I had people that loved me and said, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? Now, these are people I respected and loved. And if they have a problem with me, I might need to pay attention. Right. There might be if I love and respect this person and they have standing in my life and they're coming to me with a concern, it's a valid concern.
Because if they don't say anything, they're enabling.
100%.
They're enabling.
And so the combination, Pat, of people that love you, checking you and saying, this is going to end horribly if you don't start making some better decisions. If you don't start making better decisions, it's got nothing to do with shit. Just doesn't happen to us.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Right?
You're not a victim. You know, fucking enough with the fucking, I just can't catch a break. Stop making fucking stupid decisions.
Yeah.
And you'll catch a break. Good decisions garner good results.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
so when my father-in-law came to me, after I fucking destroyed his daughter, he said, I don't want to lose you as a son-in-law.
Oh, wow.
You need to start fucking making some good decisions, kid. And I'm like, I call him dad. I said, yeah, dad. He goes, I love you. I love you and I'm here for you. Basically, how do we unfuck this situation? Thanks, dad. I'll figure
Wow.
it out. One of my best buddies. Do you know what's coming, man? Do you know what's coming? Because I don't think you know what's coming. Nicole's moving on and somebody else is raising your daughter. Are you good with that? No, man, I'm not. He goes, then fucking knock it off.
Yeah.
Then knock it off.
Well, and I think too, and I think too that sometimes what happens is, like, and I use myself for an example. It took me to hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Rock bottom before, and I think that's with a lot of people. But when they hit rock bottom and they're like, "Well, fuck, there's only one way, and that's up."
Yeah.
But and I think a lot of people, to your point, where you have maybe in a relationship where you have a spouse that just kind of enables and stuff like that, and then that person who is the addict, or they haven't hit rock bottom yet,
right? Right.
Because
they never will. They never will.
They never will, as long as that. Thank God you had your Nicole in your life that stuck with you, and her dad and people in your life.
Right.
And my point in that is, even if you don't have that support in your life, because some people don't,
sure,
doesn't mean that you're only stuck because you choose to be stuck.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you don't, well, I don't have a wife like John does, or I don't have a father. Okay, so that's your excuse. I mean, how many fucking people out there come from nothing and
right.
go on to do great things?
Of course.
So,
of course.
Just because you don't have that support, and I hope you do, but if you don't, doesn't mean that you're stuck where you are. And if you are, you're choosing it.
Right. And to follow up with that, support can take on many different
absolutely
looks. Your support, Pat. Your support. I don't know many other people that are as passionate about self-care and getting people right to see the beauty of their life and the potential of it than you. Right. So, I don't have bullshit. Let's just call bullshit. You don't have because you haven't looked. You haven't opened your eyes to this world of support and caring that is all around you. And so then it becomes a decision. Do I pick up the phone and call Pat Fitzgibbons? Do I pick up the phone and call one of the thousands of people out there in this space that have dedicated their lives to helping you get out of the hole and experience a life of loving and fulfillment? Or do I decide not to pick up the phone? And if you decide not to pick up the phone, you can't bitch about not connecting with somebody like you.
Thank you, brother. I saw this. I think I posted this recently, but I heard this on a show. I wish I could steal it. It's not mine, but I can't remember who I heard it from. It was on a podcast, but he said, the question was asked, I think it was on Rogan, and he said, I think the host, I think it was Joe Rogan, asked this guest, he said, what's your definition of hell? And this guy looked at him, he said, my definition of hell is getting to the end of my life, wherever I'm at in my life, and dying, and then when I pass, meeting the person I could have been.
How about that?
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Dying as the person you are, and then getting to the other side, and hey, I'm Pat Fitzgibbons. This is the person I could have been, but you fucking didn't take any action.
Right. Yeah. No, those are powerful words for all of us, man. Powerful words for all of us. And that's why I think that's what fuels you. I think that's what fuels me. It fuels a lot of us that are in this space that are fortunate. We're practicing gratitude on a real-time basis every day, paying it forward. And it's just, that's what it's about, man.
You have to, you hit gratitude, brother. I just want to talk about that for a minute. And, I remember years ago hearing about, the practice of gratitude, and it is so powerful. It is so powerful. I mean, to get up every morning and say, look, I got a lot of shit going on in my life, a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, but I'm grateful to be here. I mean, if you start your day off, and again, for me, my personal experience, if you can start your day off in gratitude, if I can start my day off like that, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of my day.
Of course it does. How could it not?
But I was never like that, John.
No, neither was I, because you get absorbed in the
you
shit.
get absorbed in the shit and the life, and oh God, fuck, what am I supposed to be grateful for? My life sucks, my job sucks, my relationship
like
sucks.
The fact that you just were able to articulate
Yes.
that is something to be grateful for.
Exactly. And so once you get into talking about, I know you talk about this a lot, the mindset and all this.
Right.
I mean, if you can just do that, something simple, doesn't cost you a fucking thing. Maybe a couple minutes.
No. Free. It's free.
Maybe a couple minutes. If you get up every morning and say, you know what? I'm just grateful to be here. I'm just grateful to be alive. I'm grateful I'm above ground today.
Yeah.
Because everything can change like that.
I think, unfortunately, a lot of folks have never had love taken from them. A lot of folks have never had true despair. And, we talk about, trauma is relative and everybody has their own. And that's true to a certain degree. But
I agree with you.
There's loss, man. There's loss that's unfathomable, that you have never experienced, that I have never experienced. And I pray to God that doesn't ever visit me. But there are people that have experienced that kind of pain, that kind of loss. Let your imagination fucking run wild.
Yeah.
Still get up every day and make a decision to be part of the solution in that day, in their own lives and in the lives of somebody else. And that's a decision. We all have that capability, that power to make a decision that empowers us, that makes our lives better, that makes the lives of the people in our circle better. That's a decision. And we either choose to make that decision or not. And, plenty of excuses. There's a lot of excuses. And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that their identity and their power is somehow wrapped up with that role of being the victim, or the, fucking nothing. I'm this, I suffer from the.
And they hang around other people like that too.
Oh, it
just feeds off of it.
It turns into this big. It's just like a toilet, and everybody just shits in this toilet and nobody flushes it. And it's just a bunch of turds, man. Just a bunch of smelly turds that don't go anywhere because everybody keeps feeding into that same shit bowl. And I know people that, like, the way they introduce themselves is, I suffer from PTS and I am I'm sorry. Fuck off.
So right away, you got to feel sorry for me.
Right away, man.
Right away, I'm a victim.
I have been, stop, listen, stop, fucking rewind, brother. All right, listen, we need to come up with a better way to introduce yourself to the room, right? Because that ain't fucking cutting it, my friend. Everybody has shit that has happened to them.
Everybody has problems.
Right? We got friggin' Holocaust survivors that don't introduce them. Hi, how are you, sir? Hi, I'm Joe Schmo.
I was at Auschwitz.
Happy to be here. Yeah, happy to be here. Oh, and 30 minutes later, you find out that he was fucking at Auschwitz, right? Because he's not leading the story with that. He's just fucking thankful to be here.
Absolutely.
Right?
So, powerful. Yeah, it's powerful. And you see that too in, the law enforcement and the first responder field, where, there's a lot of victims out there, or say that they're victims. And the only victim you're a victim of your own mind. I mean, you keep saying, it's like, somebody keeps telling you the same thing and you start believing it and believing it and believing it, believing it, even though it's not true. You know what I mean? It's that subliminal.
Well, so the other thing is, Pat, unfortunately, in this space, there are some people that, it's like the pharmaceutical companies. Like they don't make medicines to cure shit.
No, they make medicines to keep you addicted and keep you.
They make medicines to help you with symptoms, but they
Absolutely.
don't ever fucking
to live with it.
Right. So there are a lot of entities and folks out here who want to play into the whole victimization because they generate their power from that. And as long as you stay a victim, they're in need. You know what? And what are you going to do when nobody is a victim? Then your identity crumbles, right? So they don't fucking, they want to make sure that they surround themselves with victims, that everybody's, we're all fucking hugging each other and crying it out. And it gives people a sense of belonging and being for all the wrong reasons.
Absolutely. And how do
you it's tough, man. It's because you want to tread a little lightly, man, because I can't say something that says, that makes you go, fuck you, and then you tune me out. Right? Because then I lost you. I can't, we no longer.
No, I understand. Yeah, I get that.
It's a delicate balance between calling people out on their bullshit and saying, hey, listen, man, there's a better way. Like, you don't have to be a victim. You can actually thrive. You can be a fucking rock star.
Yeah, that's part of my story, but it's not my whole story.
Right. It's a part.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, hopefully, right. Hopefully more and more people are starting to figure it out and realize that your identity can be awesome. Your identity can be somebody that is thriving, somebody that has a full heart, somebody that absolutely can't wait to wake up in the morning. I mean, that can be you.
Yeah.
And it with your fucking head held high, and you're not walking around like Eeyore, it's gonna rain today, and no, man, and that doesn't mean that you haven't had pain.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you haven't gone through some tough times. But start making the decision to live and to practice all those things that we've talked about. I mean, I think that's a better way to go through the rest of this thing that we have that's called life, man.
There's a great book out. It's by Bronnie Ware. I think that's her name. And she
mentioned this before.
Yeah, 5 Regrets of Dying. And it's just such an amazing book where, I'm not giving away the book, but the regrets of dying. And one of those is, you just said, brother, I mean, not going for your dreams and not living the life that you are supposed to live, and settling for mediocrity,
right?
And settling for people who are going to, push you down, keep you there.
The solutions are very easy, Pat.
Yeah, the solutions are easy. I mean, people think, well, yeah, it's so complex. Well, maybe it is, in certain
the solutions are easy. The work is hard.
Yeah, the work is hard. The work is hard. There's, I remember, if you ever seen Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino.
Yeah, of course.
So I was watching that the other day, and there's a line in there where it really struck me. He said, I always knew what the right road to take was, but I never took it because it was too damn hard. And I think most people take the easy route. I have. Oh shit! I mean, less
present
resistance.
Company included.
I'm going to take the easy route. The other route is too uncomfortable. But that's where your growth is. That's where your opportunities are.
Yeah.
In the unknown.
We I think some of that is our fear of failing, a fear of failing. If I don't try it. If I don't try something difficult, then I can't fail at it.
Absolutely.
And so that mindset is like, well, I'll just do the shit that I'm good at.
Well,
And
and here's the thing about failure. I really, the older I get, the really, I really believe, I'm starting to believe, and maybe, and it's just me, in my opinion, people, I don't think ever really fail.
right,
I don't think they do. I think people quit all the time.
difference,
That's it.
right?
That's it. There's a
Hey,
difference.
let's
People
big
say,
difference.
people say, well, you know, my marriage failed, or you know, I
Yeah,
failed at getting a promotion. Oh, and I take a different view now, and it took me a long time to get here. Okay,
sure.
it didn't fail. We just quit. I mean, how many times do you hear people, brother, say, "Well, I'm just not even going to try anymore. I'm just going to quit trying. I'm a failure." Well, you failed because you quit.
You are a failure at that point when
You
you
are a
quit.
failure. You failure.
Yeah,
But I just think the more
yeah,
you
man.
go at something, the more you go out at something. You, to use you an example, you haven't drank in over 2 decades. Amazing, fucking amazing. But you didn't quit and say, well, I'm just going to have a, you know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
so
no, you
I
gotta.
just don't think
Yeah.
people really fail. I think what they do is they quit.
I think that's probably and again, to hear that, right? To hear that, for you to articulate that,
I mean, I can blame,
that's powerful, right? Because
I can say, you know, my last marriage, you know, I failed at my last marriage. The reality is I quit. The reality is I quit communicating. I quit. I didn't want to go to counseling. You know, so it was, quote, failed, but what really happened, I
right,
quit.
yeah,
I stopped.
that's tough, bro. That's tough. Um,
I
yeah.
stopped. And I
And
think it
so
applies to everything.
but you grow from that
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
You grow from that. I mean, because at the time when you were in it, maybe you had some excuses and maybe you pointed
Oh,
some fingers,
absolutely.
right? Right.
Absolutely. It's
Because
not
that's
my
because
fault.
you're fucking human, right?
Yeah,
And but it's once we have some time to reflect and mature and grow, you take some ownership, didn't you?
absolutely. I mean, you can either not take ownership and move forward, or you can just stay in the same pile of
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
you know,
I've
and
always said that it's important, like not for your spouse, but for you. For you to be able to live with you got to know that you've done everything in your power, humanly possible, to make a situation work, right? I mean, listen, ultimately, if I've had some people come to me and go, well, you don't know my spouse and she
oh,
wants blah, blah, blah. So I'll go, I don't have control over your
yeah,
spouse, neither do you. So you have control over you. So why don't you start doing all the things that you know you should be doing so you can look yourself in the mirror and be okay with the guy looking back?
absolutely.
And if you do that, it'll fucking play out the way it plays out. But at the end of the day, it won't be because you failed or you quit. The marriage might have failed, but it wasn't because you quit. You never quit. You always kept pushing and trying to develop and grow and be a better version of you. If the other person didn't want to go on that journey, that's on them. But you can look you in the mirror and go,
Yeah,
I didn't quit.
yeah. And I tell people too, brother. I mean, again, you talk to a ton of people. I do, and it's like, well, you even said, well, you don't know my spouse. So you're right. I don't know your spouse. I don't know your relationship. I don't know what you're dealing with, your baggage. But I can tell you this: whatever you are dealing with, whatever the problems, challenges you have, they're not fucking unique. Yeah,
Oh
you're
man.
unique,
Right.
and you know, I mean, I don't know your problems, but if you think that you're the only one that's ever had financial problems, you're crazy. If you
Right.
think that you're the only one that has communication problems with your spouse or infidelity issues or whatever, I'm telling you, buddy,
Right.
you are not alone. It might
Right.
seem like you're alone.
Sure.
And I tell this people who want to get treatment. I know, I've been there. And it feels like you're the only one that's going through this. And the reality is other people have, millions of other people have.
Sure.
And they
No,
can
that's
guide you and tell you, like you, people
when
like
you
you.
sit down and talk with people like that, that's listen, Shatterproof, FHE and Shatterproof, they fucking hit a home run when they partnered with you because Well, listen, bro, listen, you're a dear friend. I don't need to say anything.
Yeah.
Although I could use that money that I lent you. I could get that back if you could fucking
I'm Venmoing it today. We're
or
breaking up. We're
Venmo it to
breaking
me.
up.
That
We're breaking
would
up.
be awesome. Yeah, brother. Guy who's been on the job, who struggled, and then now is in an amazing position to be able to help people, because the one thing that they can say to a lot of people is that they can't say to you is, you don't know what it's like. Oh,
Yeah.
the fuck I don't.
Yeah.
The fuck I don't. I know exactly what it's like,
Yeah.
because I was you having
Absolutely.
the same conversation, and look at the progression, right? Look at the progression. Look where I'm at now. Look where I was. And it starts with a decision, right? Get on the plane. Don't be a bitch. Get on the plane.
Yeah. And if I need to fucking get on a plane with you,
yeah,
I'll do it.
And embrace the opportunity that you've been given to hit fucking reset and start a new life. And not everybody gets that opportunity.
No. And we all have a reset button.
Right. Easily done. Easily done.
And sometimes we got to hit that reset button a lot.
Okay. It happens. It's not defining. It's just life, man.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, man. We've got this idea, Pat, about what life is supposed to be like, and what, perfect looks like. And, we start chasing perfection and all these other things. And, all we do when we chase perfection is we set ourselves up for disappointment.
Absolutely.
And so, it's just,
there's no perfect
so many
life.
things.
Just life.
Oh man. Just make the best of it that you can. Right.
So tell us, pivoting a little bit, brother, tell us what you're up to now. I mean, you're out there, you're talking, you're doing training, you're doing conferences, you're talking to all kinds of people, you're an influencer. So can you tell me about what you talked about before
yeah,
we started?
so exciting, Pat. So 6 months before I was getting ready to retire after a 30-year career, I didn't know if I wanted to buy widgets and sell them on fucking Amazon and make 10 cents a unit, or I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. And we're sitting in the motor barn having some Cuban coffee, and one of my, and everybody's throwing around ideas. Oh, do this, you should do this, open up a gun range, do this, do that, blah blah blah. And one of my guys, Scott McGordy, I love him like a brother. He looks at me and he goes, "Why don't you do what you've always done?" I go, "This is one of my guys." I go, "What's that, Scotty?" He goes, "You've always taken care of us. Yeah. Why don't you just take care of other people like the way you took care of this unit?" I went, "Oh, fuck. Okay, brother. All right. I'm going to dismiss myself now." And I went for a walk. I went, I can do that.
Yeah, you
like
can.
That fucking matters. Like I can do that. And so that's what got me started with the whole program, right? Personal, professional, financial, physical, mental health.
And you are so good at it, John.
Oh, thanks, Pat.
No, man, you are, brother. You know that. You're awesome.
I suck at a lot of things, man, but I think there's one thing that I do pretty well is communicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love talking to people, and I love helping people out of situations that they find themselves in that they're really not sure whether to turn left or right. And I like providing them that roadmap, like, hey,
because you've been there.
Yeah, it's not too difficult for me to do. And unfortunately, there's no better teacher than experience.
Absolutely.
And so doing all that, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm connecting with people around the country, and I partnered with a financial firm, Capital Defender Wealth Management, and Serve and Protect Financial. They opened up their own investment advisor company, and they came to me, and I've known these folks for a while. They're just super smart, super credible, unbelievably trustworthy, strong first responder base. And they said, I said, you focus on people's financial health. I said, but if we don't focus on their personal health, their relationship health, their mental health, I go, financial health is not, they can have all the money in the world, but if
Yeah, it'd still be
they get
fucked up.
yeah, if they're not taking care of themselves emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, then that money's useless.
Yeah.
I said, so I think there's a way that we could partner here and move forward with this. And so we started. I have them on my website. I recommend them at every seminar. Serve and Protect Financial, Brian McGinnis and his crew. We we went through this and we partnered, and they came to me and said, John, we want to start a foundation for first responders. And we love the concept of what you're doing. Everything has to be proactive and preventative. I belong to the 100 Club of Volusia County.
Oh yeah, 100 Club's awesome.
Right. But to the point is, the 100 Club is after the fact. It pays monies, right, to the first responders' families when they die in the line of duty. That's great. It's a great benefit for the family. This foundation provides education and financial assistance to the first responders now.
Yeah.
Well, they can use it
It's
to
amazing.
help them navigate the stressors of everyday life. That's what the foundation does. It's Heroes Guiding Heroes Foundation. And so when we identify, or I reach out to you, Pat, and I go, do you have anybody on your radar that's in need? Maybe they need to go to a couples retreat to save their marriage, right? We pick up the tab on that.
That is friggin' amazing.
And so Capital Defender Wealth Management, along with Serve and Protect Financial, have partnered with me, and we've created this foundation, Heroes Guiding Heroes, and they're providing educational, financial assistance and support to first responders and their families in a proactive, preventative sense to help them address every day-to-day life stressors. And so I like to say, Pat, is that we all experience a slide, right? This foundation's goal is to prevent the slide from becoming the avalanche. Let's get involved on the front end. Let's commit our resources and our education and our support to keep you from falling in the hole, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's the board is made up of some first responders from different areas, and all very like-minded with the one goal of supporting our first responder community. And listen, maybe there's somebody out there that's got a kid that needs treatment in another state, and they need some assistance in maybe living there for a month, or getting there, or flying there. This umbrella of support is very wide and far-reaching.
Yeah,
and so it's whatever we can do on that end to support our first responders, to keep the slide from becoming an avalanche. That's the mission. And
I love it.
We're
We're
looking for a June 1st launch, with the website and the links and the whole 9 yards to kind of
any way I can help with that, brother, please.
And I know, and that's why I was excited to talk to you about it, because I know you have a far reach, and you're really plugged into this community. And it's just one of those things, Pat, that we'd like to leave this place better than we found it, and helping first responders, not when they're past, not when they're dead, not, families are great. We like to take care of families, but we want to take care of the first responder now, so they can really live the life that I'm living right now, live the life that you're living, full of gratitude and love.
It's just proactive. And
yeah, man.
Like you said, John, we're really good at plucking first responders after they've, they're in the water, and, we're really good at plugging them in and saying, hey, we're going to save you. Here's my hand. I want to help people before they fucking fall in the water upstream.
Exactly. Yeah. Listen,
just like
brother,
what you want to do. And just
that's
like
it.
with Heroes Guiding Heroes.
Yeah. Listen, it is so hard to get somebody out of the water.
Absolutely.
Let's keep them from falling in.
Absolutely.
Let's keep them from falling in, and let's provide that support and guidance on the front end. And not everybody's got to touch the stove, man, to know that it's hot.
Absolutely. John Kelly, I could talk with you all day, brother. If people want to reach out to you, if they want to have you come and speak to their organization or at an event, how do they reach out to you, brother?
It's real simple, Pat. Thank you for asking.
Hold on, let me write it down.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Be throwing my cell phone out there. lawenforcementlifecoach.com.
Absolutely.
lawenforcementlifecoach.com. There's links to classes, there's little clips from presentations, all sorts of ways to get in touch with me. There's a little background on the organization and what we're all about and what we're trying to accomplish. And I just before you sign off, I wanted to thank you.
Absolutely, brother.
It almost sounds, I hate listening to those podcasts where everybody's jerking each other off. It fucking gets to be a little nauseous at times. Yeah. But with that being said, man, that's my disclaimer. There aren't a lot of people in this space that are as genuine as you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship. And, at the end of the day, man, what you do matters. And I love you for that.
I love you too, brother. What you do matters. And everything we talked about for the listener is going to be linked up in the show notes. Please reach out to John. Book this guy at your next event. He is truly an amazing individual, helping so many of us out there. John Kelly, I love you very much, brother. Thank you for being on. I'd love to have you back on again in the future, my friend.
Listen, man, it's always a pleasure, and it's effortless. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person again, and hopefully not in the not too distant future, man.
All right, brother. Take care.
I love you.